my enemies, yeah. You see, you wanted to save you, and then learn how to raise you. But I forget you're from the wilderness.
What is up, everyone? I am Rob.
I'm Eamon.
Damn, would you believe it's a little mini Fuzz, Eamon?
Hardly.
I know. It's madness. It is true madness.
What a time to be alive.
Hope everyone is doing well, wherever you may be in the world. Hope you're having a good day. All of that jazz, you know the crack. Before we get into this episode, we'd like to remind everyone, if you could leave reviews, that would be fantastic. If you have not gone over to our YouTube yet and you are a listener on audio only, if you could head on over to our YouTube, drop a subscription, leave a like, hit that bell notification. Getting all YouTubey now. Yeah. That's all very much appreciated, because the reason being is we're trying to get to 1,000 subs because we can partner then at that point, so we're not far off it. So if anyone wants to head on over and drop a sub, much appreciated. And yeah, if you want to do a little bit more, head on over to our Patreon. You get exclusive episodes, all that fun jazz. We'll be probably recording one maybe next week or something like that. You get access to our Discord and ad-free episodes too. You can pay early if you want. There will be a little bit of extra content over the month of October. It is spooky season.
Yeah, that's when we come out. We pull out the stops on the own.
Yeah, we have big plans actually. Hopefully cool guest appearances, hopefully a couple of swap casts. Obviously we'll have our fuzzy familiars buzz as usual. But we're hoping to push the boat out for the month of Halloween and yeah, hopefully that can materialise. But hopefully a lot of guest spots, all that. Speaking of which, Eamon, there will be an episode going live on the Let's Get Freaky podcast. I believe today they're dropping their interview with me. Their host Tommy interviewed me earlier today. Really good interview. It was like 2 hours.
Awesome.
We had a good chat about basically...
Did you get personal? Told people about your personal life?
Nah.
Your deep secrets?
No deep secrets, but we're talking about, some of the older cryptid sightings and... Or not cryptid sightings, but black dog stuff. And it's actually nice. Tommy's from London. He's from Essex.
Oh, okay.
So it was nice to get to chat with a fellow UK podcaster about... Not fellow UK, sorry. UK podcaster about... cryptids, because usually it's very American centric kind of thing, and we were talking about that. It's like kind of we're on the outside looking in.
BBCs are a big one.
They are. The BBCs are all over the place over there. So yeah, we had a great chat. That'll be over on the Let's Get Freaky podcast, so you can check it out on YouTube or anywhere else. I will post links everywhere as well, so do watch the space for that too. Big shouts out to Tommy, he's a good geezer. If they have any spooky stories or cryptid encounters, where do they send them?
If there's anything you want to write in and tell us about, like Lowell this week, you can write into monsterfuzzpodcast@gmail.com. Lowell, one of the early adopters.
Lol and behold, he's still with us.
Lol and behold, he's still here.
It's a cool thing. It's a special thing. That we have a lot of people from the first couple of weeks of the podcast that are still with us now, and we have quite a few actually. It's a very cool thing. It's something that we appreciate a lot for many reasons. It also means we're keeping real.
We're keeping real.
Like we haven't acted the Balex. We haven't changed too much for any reason.
I'm sure there's a few people that were just like quietly.
Just, lots. There's lots of that.
But no, we have. You can nearly name. Well, we could name, but we won't. You'd name the
the heads.
The big five.
There's a silent majority there too, though. You have to remember these are only the patrons. But yeah, Lowell writes in. Shouts out Lowell. Eamon, do you want to take it away?
Hey fellas, been wanting to share these sightings with you and the spermists for a while. See, a lot of people be like, "Who are the spermists?" Lowell knows because he's been here since the start.
Does,
they aren't my own, but it felt a bit disingenuous. However, after listening to the episode with Brother Richard and his talking about cultures who share familial stories as their own, here I am. Both of these experiences took place within 50 kilometers of each other in rural southern Saskatchewan. Saskatchewan. That's where Sasquatch is originally from, isn't it? Saskatchewan.
I don't know. I think that might be just, isn't it?
My Ferdinand Magellan family.
Yeah.
Morgan and his dad Leonard were out in Saskatchewan doing work there.
Really?
It's like, I want to say it was like 3 weeks on, 2 weeks off or something like that, but out in the ices.
Oh, yeah.
So Leonard's a plumber by trade, and he would go out he was doing work with some of the machinery, but he could only go out for like 5 minutes because it was so
Also
cold. He'd
cold,
have to
yeah.
come back in, like
Crazy.
mad landscape out there.
Make your piss freeze, man, on the spot.
Yeah, can't even pee outside as God's given right that he bestowed on all males everywhere.
happen.
Stand up and piss freely. No, not out there. You frozen Mickey.
Not happening.
Which you don't want.
No.
The first story is my gran's and happened sometime during the late 70s. It was during harvest around dusk, and she had driven out to the field in to take my grandfather's supper and haul back a load of grain. The lane leading up to our farmyard was about a half a kilometre, tree line on the west of the road and an open field to the east. As she was coming back the lane towards home, she noticed a craft hovering in said field about 50 feet off the ground and about 400 feet away from the road. She described it as the classic saucer shape with blinking lights around the perimeter of the craft. She slowed the truck down and got out, but by that point it had disappeared. She said she never felt scared, only curious.
Interesting. In the interview today, Tommy was telling me that he had, and he'll come on the podcast and talk about his experiences, but he was saying when he was a kid, him and his mates playing football all experienced like almost like a building UFO, like kind of like that. Remember the one in China that time?
Oh, yeah.
Where it was like almost a city that they were saying was like a flying city almost. Like that's what he was saying. He was like, it was like something out of Dubai in the sky. And I was like, well, funny you should mention that, Tommy. There's a lot of sightings of similar like things to that, like, and they're mainly out of China, which is where like we don't really hear of them.
Yeah.
But yeah, UFO madness.
Man, I'm about halfway through that book, Imminent, and it's like
Nuts. You're fully believing now.
I'm believing what he's telling me. Like
Yeah.
I believe, like it gets into the was it Cash Landrum?
Oh yeah,
and Rendlesham Forest. It gets into all that. It also gets into some kooky religious stuff.
Oh yeah.
But it gets into
kooky religious
those kooky
people.
religious people. It's there. Yeah, there's a lot. There's a lot in it. Like it's dense. And then every now and then he's like, "Here's my own family," and sure, I'm breaking up with someone now, and here's my mother passing away and all that. And then it's like fucking back to aliens. So it's actually it's
Sounds
very
interesting.
It's on, like I said, Spotify. I think Jared was Rona was talking to me about it on the Discord, but he was saying, it's very easy to listen to, like very engaging.
Who writes it?
Luis Esposito.
Is he still with us? Like,
Oh yeah, he's the Limp Bizkit fella.
oh,
Yeah, he's Fred Durst of Aliens, like
what you mean? By when
like
you
the
say
fella
that,
who
man?
has the Meg and all the tattoos and all.
He's in Limp Bizkit.
No, remember
Right.
when we joke about the lad who looks like he's in Limp Bizkit?
Oh yeah.
I'll show you a
Yeah,
picture
yeah. I
there.
think show me a picture there because I think I know who you're talking about. But
Infinite
Oh,
author. You
right.
as soon as you see him, you'll be
all I
like,
can visualize is
yeah.
Jordan Peterson covered in mincemeat at the moment. Sorry.
Well, you gotta make sure you get in every nook and cranny, buddy. There he is. That's not a great picture of him, but he has the Meg.
Oh right. Okay. Cool. Yeah. Cool.
Yeah. So there he is. So Luis Elizondo. I was like Esperando,
It was just
Ebedando.
like, name that sounds
I
Hispanic.
called him Louis Gomez, who's from Legion of Skanks the other day. So any Louis.
Louis
King Louis the 14th, author of the book Imminent.
Louis Concarney.
Louis Concar. I believe it's L. Louis writes the book.
Wow, that'd be fucked.
Very funny. I asked about missing time, but she said she never experienced that. What really struck me was the way she described it, and even said how clearly she remembered it despite it happening almost 50 years ago. To add some context, before hearing her tell this, she had never given me any indicator of being into anything supernatural, and had never brought it up until I was talking about the UAP disclosure a few years back over dinner.
What a dinner conversation to have, lol. Yeah,
Oh,
absolute
man.
G.
I wish I had one of my grandparents
Yeah, you're an
left so I
absolute
could
G.
bring that up. Like, Nanny, what do you think about will you stop, will you? There's only one Lord Jesus. Very nonchalantly, she said to me, well, I saw a UFO once, you know. I was gobsmacked. A lot of older farmers around here have similar stories, and I always chalked it up to a few too many whiskies in the tractor and old men messing. But after hearing my grand story, I'm more inclined to believe.
Actually, I have super cool exclusive. I believe it's only been, like, I think we're the first to cover it, but Declan sent it in. Shouts out Declan. Farmer Forum posts about animals mutilated on farms in Ireland.
Yeah. I saw some of those, and they're like they were done with lightsabers.
Yeah, and so this is like, I don't think any podcast has covered this stuff. So this is all mad farm animal mutilation. That's fairly
in Ireland,
fairly gnarly stuff.
So there's no predator that's capable of doing that in Ireland.
No. So,
which means I'm gonna have, if I get followed now by a thing in the sky on the way home.
Mm-hmm. So again,
I see Dogman when I'm smoking fags out my window tonight.
It might happen. It might happen.
The second story happened to my mom about 3 years ago. She lives in a very small town, around 200 people, and was sitting in her front yard with a friend during summer in the afternoon. Typical summer day in rural Saskatchewan. Always a bit of wind, birds chirping, grasshoppers in the field, and they live about 200 metres from the highway. In other words, it's never totally quiet. Her and her friend were just chatting, enjoying the day, when suddenly there was a total absence of noise. And when I say absence, the way she described it was like being in a bubble. And this is a lot of stuff when people see...
They talk about that, like...
Well, certainly with Sasquatch and Dogman, absence of sound is a big thing. And if they are related to the aliens in some way, you know. No wind, no bugs, no sound of vehicles from the highway, total silence. It was so jarring that they stopped their conversation instantly and gave each other a strange look. Hello, good sir. Do you notice anything strange? After a few seconds, she said there was a massive whoosh, accompanied by something streaking past them like a sonic boom.
Sonic boom.
Yeah, they get into that as well about the amount of G's. Those crafts apparently can go 70,000 G's.
Right.
The way that they move, the ones that they've like caught on camera, where I think... So
that's like the estimated speed based on the trajectory
on
the video.
At.
Okay,
I think
cool.
A plane can do 150 or something.
All right.
So at most it's 1,500.
Yeah.
So like 70,000. That's, I mean, extrapolate that to have an idea of how advanced it is. So they're both freaked out after this, totally justifiably. My first thought was some sort of jet, but knowing the state of Canada's Air Force, it's extremely unlikely. As well, knowing the people in my area, if there had been some crazy aircraft fly over during the daytime, it would have been plastered all over our local Facebook groups. My second and outlandish, unsubstantiated thought is that they got sucked into some weird dimensional hole and were partially pulled out of reality.
Of course.
Noel, you're speaking my language. These are the things I believe in.
Yeah.
Welcome to the Metaphysical Bigfoot Podcast with your host, Metaphysical Eamon and Material Rob. Glitch in the Matrix type shit. Whatever it was weird, and listening to her tell the story, even writing it now, has my anus puckering.
My arse is flapping, mate.
I haven't been on the podcast for a while, have I? I'll fucking break any man up for the love of Jesus. I'd also just like to say how much I appreciate the two of you. Oh, thank you very much. For the pod and for who you both are as people. Wow, that's Jesus. A very kind thing to say. Over the past 4 years, you've positively impacted my life in more ways than I can count, simply by being genuine and sound. I've gotten through some real rough patches in the last few years thanks to the podcast and being able to reach out to you and the Discord for support. I feel good about the person I am today, and I owe a huge part of that to you for speaking freely about things that so many men won't. The fact that all of this came from a podcast about bog monsters really speaks volumes about your character. That's a very kind thing to say, Lowell. Thank you.
It is, yeah. Had I known that was in there now, I would have slept that for all night.
Yeah, I probably would have.
But that's really nice, Lowell. Yeah, you're a class G, you know.
Yeah,
you're out there.
One of the originals. Like, you'll never forget your first, you know.
Lowell's out there cutting hair. So,
very artistically.
Oh yeah, sure, that's how you do it. He's also a tall man like myself. He's a good lad. One of Canada's finest.
He's another 6'4", is he?
Very attractive man. 6'5" he is.
6'5", even bigger.
I'm 6'5".
Bigger again, I think you're 6'4".
Where's the 6'4"? What's the slander?
I'm just. I was going to try to sow the seeds, but you couldn't remember what.
I might actually be 6'4". The jury's out on that.
Someone was controversial. It was a while ago. They had to measure me for some reason, and I remember in my mind, I was like, I better be fucking. If I'm not 6'2", I'm going to be so. But I was 6'2", so I was.
See, I have a good bit on you, so you would think
you're
by
definitely.
virtue,
I would imagine you're
6'5".
3 inches taller than me. I mean, it could be 6'6".
Who knows, man? Who truly knows? But Lol, to get back to your stories, I suppose. The first one is always interesting when someone that isn't, say, a person that consumes all this, like, again, I was talking about this in the interview today. I was like, you know, you almost expect, like, if we have guests on that are in this world, you expect they're going to be able to rattle off a couple of stories, and you're like, okay, that's cool, you take them for face value, great, right, whatever. But if you have someone that you know personally and quite well, and they're not immersed in this world, if they could just try out something that's really weird, I think almost that's worth 10 of them stories.
The more this stuff that you look into with ghosts, UFOs, less so cryptids in Ireland, let's say. It's more so and less so UFO stuff. It's more kind of paranormal stuff.
Yeah.
But everyone has these stories. My dad, when he lived in Africa, in Nigeria, told me about seeing UFOs. But he also used to smoke biscuit tins ash, so I don't know if that's connected in some way.
No, but like, there's it is like we've talked about with ghosts, where like it seems like people all have some kind of story somewhere.
The more we've been doing this, because we know, right, that if you listen to a podcast and you suspect maybe that they're paid actors to tell a story, right?
That does happen.
Which is fine. It does happen, right?
In the biz,
it must happen, right?
I'm privy.
You're privy, An insider scoop. We're like TMZ. But we know that no one who's ever told us a story has been paid for it in any way. Anyone who's ever appeared on this podcast has never been. Like, do we ever pay anyone for being on the podcast? No, never. I think we offered to the
community. Sometimes we'd offer just because,
and that's going way back.
And that was simply because sometimes like and we know it ourselves, is like, if you're taking the time out of your day, sometimes, especially if you're self-employed as a podcaster, you know, you might actually be losing money by, say, you might have a window of like 2 nights a week that you can record. If you're not going to get anything by being on the podcast with a lower reach. So you'd offer then as a kind of a pleasantry. But we wouldn't.
So it is interesting that we're aware of loads of these stories and stories we have ourselves that I'm not saying they're true or they're definitely this or definitely that, but they're definitely weird.
Yeah.
And the more I've done this podcast, the more I've looked at stories, the more I've like heard people's stories, the more I'm convinced that there is something. I don't know what it is, but there's something else going on.
Yeah.
Whether it's interdimensional or metaphysical or biological, it's definitely metaphysical.
Yeah, metaphysical.
But like there is something weird going on.
Well, that's like the Tommy guy again today, like he literally has like 200 episodes where he's just talking to people all the time who are like, I've seen this, I've seen that, I've been out in the field and I've encountered this and that.
But even his story of being a kid playing football. I saw a weird thing when I was a kid, but when I think back to it, like, do you know, it's like these things that your brain normalizes them and forgets about them. I remember being, you know, the hill to my parents' street, it's a real steep hill.
Yeah.
So when we were kids, we'd always be like just playing on the hill, skateboarding, blah, blah, blah. And me and a friend of mine were sitting down on the road, you know, small, just in the street leading to a cul-de-sac. And there's a GAA pitch that's kind of in view from when you're sitting there. And just to the right of that, there's like trees and things like that. Like, this goes way back. This must be like early 90s, mid 90s. And we saw this big silver, I don't want to say a sphere. It was a big silver thing that just went into the trees. But it must have been some sort of transport. It just doesn't look like any lorry or anything I've ever seen. But it must be. And we were kids as well, so maybe my imagination has but that's a story. And I remember we were only like 8 or 9, and I remember 2 of us, I was like, did you see that? And he was like, that was weird. And then we're like, all right, let's go do whatever.
Okay, just looked weird. Like
it was like and it wasn't in the sky, it was like at the level of the trees, so it was at the ground, so it just went in behind the trees. But it was like a silver ball. All right, unless the light was hitting it in a certain way that it was a van or a car or something. But how would it even... it was bizarre. But like I said, you forget about these things. It's only now that we're chatting about it. It's sprang back into my mind.
UFOs are one of the only ones like I don't have anything to offer in the way of stories on. Like, because I was asked about that in the interview. I was like, actually, no, I don't think I've really... Like, we seen lights when we were out in the Salty Islands camping, because like there's zero light pollution out there, but they were like a plane or something, or like a chopper. I think it was explainable. Like, it wasn't anything too mad.
And like, to be honest with you, I'm afraid to see anything now because we've covered so many stories. My subconscious, it's probably literally seeping into my subconscious. I'm sure I have dreams inspired by all the garbage we talk about. And my fear now is that, like, if I were to hear a metal gate shut when we were in Carricloe, where we know there's no metal gates, my initial thought would be like, that's the portal opening where the dog man comes through, and I'd start to freak out. But and I never would have known that if we hadn't have done all these episodes.
True. Right, so we're on to farm animal mutilation. What a time to be alive. And that was sent in by Declan, and Declan's a long time listener to the podcast and also a fantastic photographer who took our lovely pictures. And Declan's also the man.
Declan, he brought us out to the boat.
He's also the man, that wants to do video stuff as well with us. So we're trying to figure that out. Yeah, we need to figure that out. So anyway, look, this was posted on a farming forum, so it is public domain. I won't use the account's name simply because, look, we'll keep it kind of anonymous.
So this isn't Declan himself, but he's sent it to us from.
He was like, take a look at this shit.
Okay, because I skimmed it earlier, and the pictures are.
Which the fact that this is in just a generic ass farming forum makes it more impressive also, because like you're you know, this isn't the high strangeness forum, this isn't the place where people are doing this shit.
This is a farmer trying to
this is a farmer going on like. So a farmer using the forums even strange enough. What are they doing posting on forums? Should be a fucking, getting corn and shit. But anyway, I've had this issue on and off on the farm. At first, I thought the deaths were natural, but as the number piled up from an average of 1 a year, it's been 2 ewes and a calf over the summer. I can conclusively say they are not. They all have the same damage to parts of their bodies, missing ears and anus, straight cut surgical marks. My cousin called in a panic one day. He said he lost 2 pedigree bulls to blackleg. I went to help load the carcasses, and they were missing ears and facial tissue. Again, surgical marks. He says that he has a handful of photos, which he shared. He doesn't carry a phone, so he hasn't bothered to document everything, but really wants another inspection, as the legal system always wants to pin the blame on someone.
Don't really want another inspection.
No. I've searched the forum for similar posts and nothing came up. I think this problem is more widespread than me. So many refuse to see it for what it is. I've seen many of Lyndon Moulton Howe's videos on her YouTube channel. They're quite similar to my cases. She was a TV reporter back in the 70s and reported on cattle mutilations in the US, which were widespread at the time. I don't know what I want. I guess I want someone in a similar situation to reach out. It helps to have support, especially since some farmers in the US actually ceased farming as a result. So he goes on to say, find out, actually, Google this for me there, Eamon. What is scour? Because it's something that animals get on the farm. And we used to say a dose of the scours, and I don't know what it means, but it means like you're fucked. Like, you'd say it when you had the runs. I have a dose of the scours.
Animals, scours definition.
Yeah. By the scours.
It's diarrhea, so yeah, the scours.
So that worked quite well.
The cattle industry has routinely used the term scours to refer to diarrhea in young animals for as long as anyone can remember. Scours causes dehydration in calves and is the leading cause of death in calves under 1 month of age.
There you go. Dose of the scours.
Yeah, dose of the scours, yeah. So it's probably not too, when you hear people with, like, we would say dysentery in the third world, I guess it's a similar kind of thing. Similar thing. Just sickness from eating whatever and the runs. So
it says he does have issues with scour, not himself personally, but only on the animals that are mutilated. Hang on, but the only animals mutilated are healthy ones.
Yeah,
so not the scour ones.
The scour, yeah.
It's one thing for an animal to die after an illness or while calving, or as a reaction to a veterinary dose. But for healthy bulls to die at the same time, that's unheard of. There's a video of the last calf that died. He passed away near the house. I check all the stock around the house morning and evening because I keep those who are at risk of calving nearby. The calf went from being a hardy, healthy calf to eviscerated in under 9 hours. In my experience, scavengers don't work that fast. Before the calf died, I found a ewe whose rear half of the body had been skinned. Now, actually, before we go further, I'm not sure if this is Ireland or if it's just a general farming forum. Like, do you know what I mean? I don't know if it's specifically Ireland, but it could be because he does mention the UK and stuff. So, yeah, it could be.
Yeah, I'll find out.
Yeah, I could have a
forums for farming is the name.
Yeah. So I'll check it out. But that could be a global forum, for UK and Ireland. What animal does that, he says? He says that they look like they've been skinned. He says maybe a lion does. He says that he read the rough tongues like to strip away flesh, and I read of a case in India where a man was licked to death, the outer layer of his skin peeled away by a lion.
This is Britain and Ireland only.
Is it? Yeah, okay,
Yeah,
cool.
yeah.
So he posted some pictures here, and I don't have the full res just in our doc here, but yeah, the animals look really strange. It actually looks like the animal's head has been hollowed out a little bit there. That's his eye and his ear, Raymond, that you're looking at there on the right-hand picture. So his eye is on and his mouth is up the top part, so you're looking at it kind of...
This is the one just, you may have to save the fight.
Yeah.
That one. Yeah, okay,
yeah. So that's his eye is kind of hollowed out, and that's his ear alongside it there, that black hole, I think.
That's where the ears
Yeah, so real strange. Looks like a hollowed out carcass.
It actually looks as if something burned it.
Yeah.
Like I'm sure that obviously you can't see it properly in this, but it doesn't look like...
I do have high-res pictures as well.
But it just doesn't look like... First of all, as you were saying with the U being skinned from the back, I don't know. I can't think of an animal.
No, there's nothing here that would do that, like,
you know,
other than a human.
Well, that's the other thing.
Like, that's the only thing.
Is it possible that, like, rather than the aliens, these are fucking demented serial killers who are obsessed with...
So he goes on to say, as another post there, this reads like the Resident Evil journals. I'm liking it.
It actually looks a bit
Don't
like
it?
Resident Evil as well. That picture of the dog.
Class, man.
Well, it's not a dog, but...
It is like a Cerberus, isn't it? Another calf mutilation today. This calf was born today between 11 a.m. and 4:30 p.m. when I found a cow with it. The calf was premature, so unlikely to have survived for long. Again, both ears were surgically removed by straight cuts. There was a patch of skin surrounding the navel, about 2 square inches of area also removed. So he actually did put video and JPEGs up for everyone to see. Makes another post later, another day, I think. Another calf died yesterday. This one was tagged. And although his growth was not optimal, he was healthy without scour. The skin around his mouth and arse were removed. And one ear. My phone was out of order, so I couldn't take a photo. So someone actually says to him from up in Donegal, shouts out Donegal, did you ever send the animals away to be tested to determine the cause of death, or look to get a toxicology report to see if there was a poison or a tranquilizer? Which, yeah, that makes sense, right? He's kind of going like, look into it and kind of see what the crack is. And I'll just get it back up there. I kind of, my iPad went and shit the bed. So yeah, so he says he didn't actually. It will be an idea. He says that others have done so in the past. Generally, there will be organs removed from the body from reports I've read. The only ones around here are Irish travellers who I am on good terms with. They have become too lazy to hunt as of late. My personal opinion is that there are extraterrestrials involved. Okay. He says that he has 3 women of their type visit me during a stay in a mental hospital.
What? Okay. I had 3 women of their type visit me during a stay. There we go.
Time to get mad, bitch.
Right, okay. We're fucking in the layer cake now, son. All right, let's go.
It's time for the plot twist. I had 3 women of their type visit me during a stay in a mental hospital. 2 older and 1 intern who was along for the work experience. They all look quite human, but their psychic abilities were not. Okay. They were all extremely dangerous, and I asked them to leave after they were done giving me their death threats. He says that he has PTSD from his experiences with their kind in the past. I have always been lucid, and my stay in hospital was due to a compulsive disorder. Happens to the best of us. You know, we all have a bit of compulsion sometimes.
Yeah, the last part of it kind of throws it out a bit.
It doesn't. I'm going to play the devil's advocate there.
No, you can do. It's just, I thought he was just a farmer who was experiencing all this. Not to say that you couldn't have mental issues and have this happen to you at the same time.
But what I will say is, those animals are dying. That's real, right?
Possibly.
No, it is, like, 'cause there's pictures and there's videos.
The videos, that's true, yeah.
That's all real, right? Okay. So that is happening.
So
that's the first thing. That is occurring, right? In weird ways, by the way. Like, it looks weird.
Yeah.
Like, it looks weird in a sense of, if it was this guy doing it himself, maybe you could explain it.
That's kind of, like, again, no, and just so everyone's aware, when we say anything about this, we're not saying definitively this is what I think. Obviously, no one has any idea. it is interesting that because you do have people who, I suppose, whether you want to call it the men in black or whatever else, these are like the women in black.
That's what I was going to say.
You would imagine, I'll tell you one thing, if I had a farm and I had animals and I was seeing this stuff happen to them and my mind couldn't figure out what was going on, that could put me in a situation where I might have to go to the hospital.
Yeah, that's true too.
Because think about, like, and what I mean is not necessarily from being crazy, and I don't mean to use that as a derogative or anything, but like, let's say I saw Dogman.
Yeah.
Who can I tell about seeing Dogman?
Us.
I can tell you, but you probably will be like, yeah, he's probably gone. Like, you probably, I know you, and you probably like, yeah, he definitely didn't see Dogman.
I'd be calling up the mental home.
But think about it, right? I can't go to a counsellor and be like, listen, I swear to God.
We should do that.
It's a good idea for a script.
Fly on the wall, get a little sneaky pen on you, go in and be like, here, man, I've seen Dogman. See what he says.
Like,
what way he approaches.
But because I'm so used to doing the podcast, I would just explain as if everyone knows what
Dogman.
You know Dogman. I was looking for notes the other day.
Strange Familiars episode 283. You know Dogman.
You know Dogman, like metaphysical demon, kind of Native American heritage. But Flannel Man was there. I had put into the phone there the other day, or the computer or whatever, I was like, why is Dogman becoming more popular? I was trying to like get notes for an episode or something. But there's a children's book called Dogman. And that was like what all the hits were.
Right,
so apparently it's a very popular children's book called Dogman.
All right.
They're trying to turn the kids into Dogman.
It's all big Dogman is trying to get us all confused.
But like, what do you do? Like, if you have a farm, if this is happening. You know, he said he has a compulsive disorder. I can't understand, again, from having bad OCD when I was younger. Generally speaking, I think, you know, that's one of those things as well. If you can get obsessed with certain things, and then you have this going on in your property, and the stress of that, and the stress of losing Cal, that's money as well.
That's
true
too.
But yeah, the 3 women who are gonna give him death threats, it does kind of go a bit bananas at the end there, is all I'll say.
Gets like Twin Peaksy after like the first couple of episodes.
Well, it's like if you're talking to a lad who's telling you about all his, like, you know, all this stuff going in a bar, and you're like, fuck, that's really insane, that's really interesting. And then at the end he's like, and by the way, and then by the end he'll be like, ooh, now I do. Are you a reliable source? But again, I don't, it's just, I'm
gonna play devil's advocate and say, what if all that did happen? Like Cash Landrum, their story is basically like a lot similar to that. But like theirs is a lot of like, oh yeah, people don't believe us, they're trying to rubbish us, and this happened and that happened.
Yeah, well, if you listen to Luis Esperando's book or whatever his name, the US have paid millions out for people who have said they've had health issues from the radiation from crafts. So I don't know, dude. It's
that's what I'm saying. Like I'm just playing devil's advocate. Yeah, it does take a big turn there to where you're like, but
and it doesn't mean that it didn't happen. No. It's just like, you would kind of go, all right, okay, so like there was 3, but then again, here's the other side. If we want to, like, you know, turn on the turn, what's the best way to discredit someone where something actually has happened to him? If I was an alien, I'd be like, oh yeah, there's these lads, and with human beings, sometimes for whatever reason their brains don't fire right. If they don't fire right to a certain extent, people won't find them credible.
True.
So let's just make this lad have an awful experience here. Well, or he could just have that as well. God love him, you know, and try. Now, imagine having 3 evil alien women tormenting you in a mental hospital.
Well, I'm not saying that it can't happen. That's all I'm
according
to
this lad, it has happened.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm not going to say that it can't happen out there. Do you know what I mean? So then, you know, at that point,
I am gonna find this on forums for farming, and I'm gonna.
You're gonna weigh in.
I'm gonna find. No, I'm gonna be like, did you hear a metal gate close in the middle of the night? I'm just gonna follow this thread because I want to see what people. And again, I hope no one's fucking saying it. You'd imagine people are saying some nasty stuff back, but I hope not, because whether it's real or fake, the man's having a fairly awful time of it.
Exactly. Things. So, Eamon, you know, we're taking, you know, this. We're getting a bit of everything into this episode, and what would an episode be without a little bit of the paranormal? So I went on my little trip, as I oft do, to the ever-flowing, ever-full well that is the Reddit Ghost forums. And I found a post here, Eamon. If you would like to read it, this user is actually looking for answers. So they're going, if any ideas, does anyone have any similar experiences? What does it mean? So yeah, if you want to take it away.
Right, let's get to the bottom of it. Any ideas? I've done research on all events, but can't find any decent answers. So, since I was a kid, I've always had my fair share of paranormal encounters, honestly, since I was 6. My first experience happened not long after a relative of mine's death, the Gatsby gal of Long Island.
Ah, of course.
I remember her well. I don't have huge amounts of memories of her, but I do remember her voice, as she was my second cousin's mother.
Right.
And babysat me often when I was little. Now, this happened before I knew of her passing, but one night I woke up in the middle of it. I don't remember the time, but I do remember her voice going, "Baby," followed by the sound of an infant crying. Considering I was about 5 or 6, it fucking terrified the shit out of me. And I felt extremely unsafe in my room and was silently crying my eyes out. And that's saying something, as I cried loudly as a kid. So for me to stay silent without a peep is concerning. It's almost as if they knew not to wake people up. For about 10 minutes I stayed under the blanket, but the fear in me only got worse. I still remember how it felt to this day. Felt like my heart was pounding and that something was near me, but from every angle, if that makes sense. Like I was surrounded. Eventually I just ran upstairs, not seeing anything. But I wasn't sure what to do. I ran into my little sister's room, shutting the door and turning the closet light on, all to make sure I can see my surroundings and that my sister was safe. My dumb ass should have gone to my father. Okay. Now, I've had a few other encounters through my adolescence, but things got worse as I grew into an adult, going from, okay, that's a little scary, to legitimate primal fear. Both me and my full-blooded sister would have sleep paralysis events. Mine started when I was an infant, from what my parents have told me, and I think they are coming back, unfortunately. They both tell me that I have extreme nightmares, where as an infant and toddler, I'd become so stiff that they couldn't even bend my arms or legs.
Do you get sleep paralysis? No.
No.
Me, I never had it. I know people who've had it though.
Yeah,
it's like
my sister have had it a couple of times. Yeah. I think I probably have had it, but I haven't noticed it.
I get sleep cramps.
Really?
That's what I get. The cause that causes your legs to fucking buckle up.
Your legs seize up when you're
I've had cramps a couple of times, yeah, where I've just literally had to like go from like horizontal to like
wake
vertical.
Up and it's like,
oh yeah, you wake up and pinch. It's like fuck, and you're up out of the bed.
Yeah, I haven't had that. I had a weird thing, like, so me and Paola have to get up pretty early when we're driving to Dublin for work, and we had a thing a while ago where I woke up. And I swear to God, it was exactly, you could call this a sleep paralysis thing, I suppose, in a way. Everything was as it was. And I usually sleep with my phone. I usually listen to stuff going to sleep. And then, like, my phone's in the bed somewhere, you know?
So you're freebasing those microwaves and 3G,
yeah, I'm like,
5G.
Sure, what's going to happen, you know? Let's go, baby. But I woke up and it was a dream, but it was totally real. And I looked at my phone. And it was like the alarm was going to go off in 1 minute.
Oh,
and I just went, okay.
Right,
and I just put it down. And then I was like, I remember thinking to myself, I was like, that's surely going to go off. I was half asleep, half awake. And then I woke up later, but it was exactly the same. And I looked at my phone, but it was later. Or earlier, rather, excuse me. It was earlier and we had more time to sleep. And that's why the alarm had never gone off.
Oh.
But I had...
Like aware liminally.
Just like it was obviously almost a dream, but I dreamt perfectly the room.
Yeah, I have a lot of really strange dreams like that. All right, like totally vivid shit. Like,
yeah,
I had a dream I was out in like recently. Like I was out in an old friend's house. Jane, if she's listening, I was out. Definitely the lane from her old house was there, and I was there. But there was also this kind of big old school house there. And there was a bunch of people, like paranormally cryptidy people going around. Like, I don't know whether they were working on something or something, but for some reason I was an archaeologist and there was like a dig going on out there. Okay. And I was like looking for something. Real fucking strange dream. Probably a bit of sex thrown in there somewhere as well. Oh, yeah. There's a lot of mad shit going on. And you're just going around going like, what is this? Like loads of people in the dreams. Just bizarre. Do you know?
Lorcan Croft.
yeah, that was my name, was Lorcan Croft.
Croft,
Yeah.
Going on your team.
I was raiding the fucking
found
the Ackle Islands. Going to Newgrange to find fucking stuff. Yeah, no, so dreaming is strange. Well, sometimes you have those dreams where you wake up and you're like, is that just a fucking different dimension? Is there something going on somewhere that's happening in? Because it's all strange. Like, some of them are just, but it is obviously more than likely figments of your imagination, and it's your brain kind of parsing things out. But fuck,
isn't
is
it like,
cool.
don't dreams, like the part that lights up is around the pineal gland?
Could be, yeah.
Which is the same part that releases the DMT
Yeah.
when you go to the spirit realm or whatever.
Wouldn't it be class if we were able to figure out a way to, like, you know, understand what is making what appear in dreams and be able to actually control your dreams? So before you went to sleep, you could tailor make, this is what I want to dream about tonight, and it was like super fucking real.
Yeah.
What would you be dreaming about?
Occasionally you do have like just, it's rare, but you have such a cool dream.
I have, yeah.
Did you ever have a dream where you became lucid in it and you could control what was happening?
That happens sometimes, yeah.
It's rare.
Not full lucidity. I think people that can like proper lucid dream like have like, it's like they're playing a fucking PlayStation game.
Yeah, I've had it once or twice in my life by mistake.
In most of my dreams, though, I'm doing stuff I'm consciously doing stuff in most of my dreams. Like, so like I'm like, oh, I better go upstairs, and I'll go upstairs in the dream. Like that happens in most of my dreams.
Yeah,
that's like standard issue.
I did have a dream. I did, like, it's only, again, it's it's a weird thing as well, because you remember your dreams. Now I'm remembering dreams from the weekend that were about a buddy of ours.
Oh yeah,
and I can't tell if it was the night before or the night after.
Did you write him?
Well, we didn't fornicate, no. But you know who I'm talking about.
Yeah, I do. Yeah,
and
I'd write him.
I'm trying. Yeah, good looking lad. But I'm trying to figure out now, was that the night before or the night after? Do you get me?
I get you.
This is really shitty for people who don't know what I'm talking about.
No, so basically what he's saying is was some kind of premonition dream of sorts.
Someone we hadn't seen for a long time, and I had a dream about them, but I can't remember.
And then they popped up.
I'm on. I'm gonna say the melanoma, the melatonin.
Oh yeah, that's good stuff, Enda. You'll be dreaming like a bitch up on that.
That's it's mad if the melatonin just puts you into the DMT world.
Yeah, no, Kara was laughing at me like, because I'm having a narc on, because like I'm waking up when she wakes up now, and I fucking hate waking up that early.
Yeah.
And so, because I'm a night owl, so like even if I'm up, like, so like I'm gradually getting more and more demented as the night's gone. And I said to her on Saturday, I was like, I'm going to bed now, I'm going to take a DMT, I'm going to take a melatonin, I'm going to have a load of nightmares, and it's going to be the best crack ever. And sure enough, I did have a lot of nightmares. Yeah, you always on melatonin and magnesium and zinc, I find I'm nightmaring like a motherfucker.
I mixed it with a bit of wine, and that was pretty
good.
They
don't actually advise that, but it does work. Yeah, they say not to have it with alcohol.
They say not to have alcohol. They're all stop ruining everyone's.
It's actually funny because I was only listening to today's episode today.
When I was saying I wasn't.
Yeah. So
to be fair, I lasted till Friday. I did last till Friday. It's nice to look back and be like, wow, I do have a problem.
A week.
It's all right. I'm gonna last again this week, and then the weekend we'll see if the brakes come off again.
Right.
Ideally, I'd like to stop, but unfortunately, it has me in its watery grip. Come join us. Anyway,
like grip. Yeah. Go on then, away with
these other events happen. I'm a big saucy man. Ooh, can't get sober. It's impossible. I'm going to rob your whiskey on the way home. These other events happened when I was a little older, where I'd wake up almost every other night and stay awake due to sudden and extreme fear. Not being frozen, but feeling as if someone was near me. And I think I've even seen and heard things, but these memories are hazy, mostly. I can still move and talk, but almost always wound up under my covers, sometimes sensing something next to me, and could almost mentally visualize it, as it was consistent every time. My sister would have a more common type, where she'd be unable to move, but would see and feel things climb on top of her and strangle or supposedly crush her.
It's the old hag, right?
Yeah, it's the old hag. She described them all as shadow people, but more than one that sat on her was skinny and childlike in size.
Can we do an old hag episode? We haven't done one yet.
We haven't, no, yet. So, we can do that. Yeah. I eventually stayed with my mother for a bit when I was 18. I'm 24 now. And this incident happened months after another of my cousins passed away, albeit with a more peaceful death, to put it nicely.
Will that be your Fuzzy Familiars episode for Halloween? The old hag, maybe.
Let's do the old hag.
It's kind of a good one, right?
Don't
for Fuzzy.
go to sleep. It's like Friday the 13th for Halloween.
It's
right?
a good one for Fuzzy Familiars,
Yeah.
I think. The old hag,
I
perhaps.
think we can do that.
Maybe so. I'll talk to them about it, yeah. Go.
My mother had a guest room on the first floor, which was connected to the boiler room. Now, in this house, I did have prior experiences, as did my half-siblings. The daywalkers. But this room is what mortified me. I'll say their story later. I was lying down. It was maybe 4 a.m. I don't fully recall. All I knew is that at one point, I was asleep. Hence, I suddenly jolted awake and sat fully up. I don't even think I was fully conscious when I did. But I felt as if something was just bum rushing me in the middle of the
Oh,
night.
spooky. Shimon.
Come on, Bubbles. I was breathing heavily and was fully awake now, looking around the room for anything, but I didn't see crap. I calmed myself down and decided to try and go back asleep, albeit with the closet light on now, which I'm surprised I didn't even have on to begin with, as complete darkness terrifies me. Well, the second I shut my eyes and my head touched the pillow, which I swear I didn't even fully lay down, I get that feeling again, but this time more forceful, causing me to stand right up and glue myself to the wall. I didn't see shit, but this time I continued to feel the fear, as if something's in the damn room again. I just bolted upstairs to my mother's room and full-grown man, completely terrified. And I explained to her what happened, and I slept on the floor for the night. Before this, the fire alarms would constantly go off in the middle of the night, annoying as fuck and making our dog freak out, but it was harmless. We thought this could have been my second cousin that passed away. For privacy, we'll call her Carol.
Shout out Carol.
Go on, Carol. Carol's
Shout out
Vorderman.
Carol.
We thought Carol was fucking with us, as it was sort of something we'd think she'd do, but I highly doubt she'd be what rushed me. Other than that, my half-siblings both recall just apparently randomly looking out the same window. They have 2 separate rooms, but both just went to this one. And from what both tell me and my sister, they saw floating black people.
Watch out.
Yikes. I asked them to clarify, and not black as in African American. Okay. Just lads go by there. What's good? But apparently jet black skin, right? So not shadow people, but not
like
African. So not like shadows.
Yeah, but just
people that were like onyx, like probably
kind of spooky.
Yeah. Because a shadow person, we've talked about it before. You kind of see through them, or like they're a bit hazy. So this is like physical black people, but not black people.
Right. Yeah.
Right. So she said a few floated out the second story window. Looking at them, others were on the ground. Keep in mind they were both barely 9 and 10 and never watched scary movies. I just had a thought that I laughed at it. I was babysitting them that night and decided to have us all sleep in the same room. Not like I could have called the cops for these black men. Jesus Christ, what is this?
It's like, not like I could have called the cops for these black men. Oh,
like shadow people would have been a much better thing to put in there. They should yeah. I'm starting to think either my family or me are somehow haunted, or more spiritually in tuned, or whatever the term is. I believe the term is racist. I believe that's the term you're looking for. And while I love stuff,
stories and the like,
when it comes to experiencing these presences, I hate it. Classic racism. There are a few times I've ever felt truly in danger. I love to research these things, but honestly, whatever happened to good old white ghosts? No, he says, I love to research these things, but honestly, I'm not sure what these occurrences could even be. Any ideas? I might do that, like if I wake up in the middle of the night beside Paula, just like, oh, shadow person. Oh no. Wow.
So black people, what you reckon?
I like them. They're good.
Yeah. Spooky.
Yeah, I think I think he just chose a few old words now that and Lord knows I've said things in the past that I wish I could take back.
He was being cheeky.
Yeah, I think he was being a bit cheeky. I think it was like it sounds funny to him.
Yeah, that's what I was doing.
I couldn't call the cops for these.
Happens to the best of us.
When keeping it real goes wrong.
It happens to the best of us, you know what I mean? He's just trying to put a story out there.
To be fair though, yeah. Not black as an African, like jet black skin floating past the second story window.
Absolutely terrifying, by the way.
That is absolutely terrifying.
Yeah. So whatever that is, who knows? Well, it's very racially charged, one might say. Before we get out of here, Eamon, we'll do what we did last week, where we'll talk a bit about ourselves, except this time we won't get chastised because we're doing it at the end of the episode rather than the start.
Or did we get in trouble?
Yeah,
some new listener.
There's always some motherfucker trying to ice skate up a hill.
Fucking time, Robert.
McGee, I can't find the skip button. Where's the skip button? So what's going on with you, man? You know, you had a saucy old bitch of a weekend, did you?
No, to be fair now, I had a few drinks, but like I had, I split a few bottles of wine.
Saucy piss out.
Yeah. See, it's not.
You look saucy over there. You look like you've had a
I'm
couple
looking
of
like
whiskeys.
hipsterish, yeah. My hair's getting long and I just keep forgetting to go to the barber. Left a bit of a moustache in because when the rest of the beard grows in, it goes in nice. But look, man, I'm grand with just drinking. Drinking the weekends, staying clean. I've actually been very good at eating a high protein diet during the week.
Mince
and then
meat.
Just undoing it, washing myself with mince meat,
The
lean,
Peterson
30% leaner.
Protein. Do you need all that protein? Sometimes I think big protein is brainwashing us.
What it is, I think you're probably right as well. They just want us to keep eating meat for the factory farms.
I think we've gone protein mad.
What it is,
and as a medical expert, I think that we should all reject protein and go for carbohydrates.
That is certainly one way.
I feel better after a Twirl or a Twix.
For how long though?
Steak, Twirl or Twix.
Steak.
Not Twix.
Why?
Because I'm fucking more energy.
Washing yourself in the shower.
If I had a Twirl before this podcast and I'm on rare form.
Now I did read. I was listening to an expert with a PhD talk about glucose today, and she said that when you're very tired, often you'll reach for sugary items. She said it's a dopamine hit. She said
the podcast
nothing to do.
Meat Eater by Steve Vernella.
It was like I hunt deer and I eat the venison. But to be honest, the only reason with the protein was just it fills you up for longer. But like I would like oatmeal in the morning with a bit of peanut butter, a few chia seeds, delicious.
That's balanced enough though.
Yeah, exactly. I wouldn't be going like full carnivore diet, but I have like an omelette and a like bit of cooked meat or something. I make a lovely omelette. I'll have to make an omelette, but you can't eat eggs. Yeah,
can't eat them.
So that's why you hate protein.
I die after you have an omelette. Gandhi's
You're
revenge.
Biased because you can't eat the
Cardinals' revenge. I wouldn't be able for them eggy fucking bastards. And you know what? I don't miss them. I miss eggy things. I do like an old waffle or something that has the taste like eggs. Do you know, like that? It's like
could you eat a duck egg?
That's a good question.
Could you eat an ostrich egg?
That's a good question.
Let's
don't
put
know.
It to the test.
But eggs are one of them things, and even when I used to eat them, I actually didn't like them for a long time.
Really?
I went through it when I was like 16, 17. I actually think I did have an eating disorder, by the way. I don't think I was like bulimic or anorexic or anything like that. But like, I think I had a problem with food. You naturally did
like fasting.
Yeah,
like,
I didn't eat
when
much
we
food
met
at
each
all.
other.
Like I was.
But when you were younger, you would have been a bigger kid. Do you think that because you had got so skinny, there was a subconscious thing there about food? Or?
I don't know. Yeah, I don't think it was to do with that. I think it was more to do with like maybe it was some kind of control thing. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I ate like I was literally only eating like once a day. But I was so fucking like I was like 11 stone at my height, which is like very, like underweight. But I didn't like eggs then, you know, and then I got into them in my 20s and I was like, oh yeah, eggs are class, and then I got fucked up. I actually don't know, like it could have been one of them things, but like a COVID thing where like I had COVID and then all of a sudden I have fucking shit I can't eat. Now it could have been that, or it could have been like a food poisoning episode, something like that.
Yeah.
But there was something there, and now eggs are just like nausea to the point of where if I get nausea, I have to like backtrack and go, oh wait, actually there's probably eggs in that. Like I went out to an Italian one day and had a tiramisu some 50-50 on whether it has egg in it. This one did, and I didn't realise. Got home, felt sick. I was like, oh yeah, tiramisu.
Yeah,
but speaking of restaurants and eating out, started watching The Bear.
Yeah, I've seen a couple of episodes of that. What do you think of it?
having worked in the trade, it's fairly accurate.
I was about to say.
There's a lot of things that happen in the show that if people are watching it and they're fans of it and they don't know whether it's like that or not, it is more or less like that. The only thing, there's a couple of things I thought were strange. Now, this is probably just a city versus a town thing, but like, there's no way a staff like that could be supported in a restaurant size like that in Wexford. Like, there's like fucking 7 fucking chefs in the fucking thing. Like, a restaurant that size in Wexford, you'd only have 3 chefs.
Yeah.
Max.
Well, isn't the story of it is that like his brother used to just like sell normal enough food? He's like
he's a Michelin star chef.
Yeah, so he's trying to like
doing the thing.
It's mad. I only watched maybe 3 episodes.
Really good.
But what I found was it's a stressful experience, which again, for anyone who's worked in a restaurant, you and me both have, it is a stressful experience. Every day is stressful. Like,
yeah, it's stressful for everyone. And like, I was chefing and it was very stressful, but like,
that must be worse because when you're waiting tables, it's a different, that was what I was doing. It's a different kind of stress.
Well, we had moments like in the show, like, so I chefed with my ma, and so it's a family. Anyone that's worked in a family restaurant knows that's probably even worse sometimes because it's family or even fucking worse. But like, me and my ma got in things where like the waitresses would come in to the kitchen and they just turn around. Because like we'd be going at each other that hard. Like,
right, because you were,
That's
the
just
thing.
come in and go, oh,
I used to work, I worked in a hotel when I was like 18, 19, and there was a few chefs there that were just, they were just so angry.
My ma was like that, you see, and I'm quite rational and level-headed to a degree, and when someone is irrationally fucking being like that aggro chef fucking shit, then I snap.
But you see, the thing is, I don't think that people appreciate how stressful that job is.
It's the most stressful job.
It has to be, like, outside of working on an oil rig or something. But it's up there, man. It's up there. Like, just, and it's mad, you're just making food for people who can probably go without eating for 3 or 4 days and be fine without any issues.
It's another job that, again, I hate to always pin it on, but like, it's definitely a job that like neurodivergent people, obsessive compulsive people always gravitate towards, because I've actually heard a lot on like the ADHD subreddits. People are always like,
that makes sense,
recommend a job that I would like. Chefing is like a really good one for people with ADHD, because it's like constantly changing.
5 things.
Constantly changing 5 things at once. It's never the same thing twice. So you're just literally sensory bombarded from the minute you step in the door until you go home. You don't have a chance to think even.
It's mad because, you know, like
it's very
when you watch those chef like shows or whatever, and it's always like, and we're gonna put the perfect things. Like, fuck all that. Like that goes out the window. So like, it's just literally a pressure cooker. Like, it's just so, oh man, I couldn't do it. Like, it depends
where you work. It depends on the philosophy of the restaurant. It also depends on the amount of staff that they have. Like, if you're working in a city that has a really high standard, like, chances are, you know, you're one of 8 staff members, and like, that's a whole different experience.
A specific thing.
But if you're a chef in, say, a successful restaurant in Wexford, a small town that's always busy, like, that experience is totally different, because you might have 3 people that have to do everything.
Oh, but man, that was it when we were there. Like, in one of the cafes I worked in, there was one lad in the back, and he did everything, and we waited the tables. And like, you tried to help him out with prep or do whatever you could, but like, he had like a bar of chocolate for when his energy went down to just like pep him back up and like get
no
him
breaks.
flying.
You don't get breaks.
No breaks. Everyone smokes fags. If you work as a waitress, a chef, you have to smoke fags.
It's the only time you get a break is to go for a fag.
But it amps you as well. You know, you're on. So now you're on.
Cools
caffeine,
you down because you're
nicotine,
outside.
Sugar.
You get that cold air hitting you as soon as you walk outside. There was a lot of cool things in the bear when I watched it. Like, for people that are wondering, is it authentic or not? That I was like, oh yeah, there's a lot of it. Like, the characters are a little bit more colorful, obviously, than like.
Well, they have to be. Like,
but like, the shouting, screaming, like, all that happens. To people falling, people having mad accidents. Like, I've seen people fucking really hurt themselves in kitchens, like slipping and shit. And like, fucking, I seen one time, like, one of the girls got like concussed. Can't remember what happened to her, but she got a fucking big mad like egg on her fucking forehead. Bunch of times where the order gets fucked up, or people that there's problems there. Problems with people, like, everyone has nicknames, so that part of it is even accurate, where people have nicknames for each other. There's a lot of those moments in it that you can tell whoever did it is like, that's spot on. Because Kara was asking me, like, is the kitchen really that fucking messy? And I'm like, during service, yeah, absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
During service for sure.
You have to keep it as clean as possible.
Yeah,
But during service, it's
No,
impossible.
it's like it's a war zone until service ends. Like, so every day it starts super clean, but then during service it fucking goes mental, and then at the end they clean down and it's nice. I liked it, but again, if you're not that kind of person, there's few places that have that same mentality. I've talked about it briefly on the pod before, but I did work with a chef who was super chill, and when I worked with him, I was like, do you know what, I could probably work under him and I'd probably enjoy it. But my ma, who I was kind of training under before I just stopped altogether, like, she would have been of the more aggro type. But I really liked it. There was a lot of things like that happen, like, so yeah, when the chef makes a new dish, yeah, all the staff taste it. That happens. That was all in the beer. I thought that was cool that they showed that happens. The chefs making stuff for the waitresses and waiters, and all that happens. Like, I used to do that. That was one of my jobs, is to feed all the waitresses in the last place I worked. But yeah, no, it's a cool show. I really enjoyed it, actually. It's interesting. I just got through season 1 there. But yeah, it's cool. Your man's a great actor, the main fella. He's very good.
He plays Kerry. Is it Kerry Von Erich or Kevin Von Erich in the Von Erich thing, the wrestling movie that came out, the Iron Claw, which is very good.
Yeah,
but he's one of the ones who's like, fairly bad on the drugs or whatever. In real life, killed himself.
Okay,
but he does a really good job. This is a wrestler who lost one of his legs in a motorbike accident, but wound up getting back into the ring and becoming a champion. So like the Von Erichs were like the most popular wrestlers in America in I want to say the 80s, back when the territories were going on. But he's to your point, he's a very good actor. Yeah,
he's brilliant, really good. I think he won a bunch of Emmys there recently, as did Shogun, which was deserved. That's about it, I think.
I haven't been watching. I saw that the new season of From has just started, so I'm going to get stuck into that. Really, you'll like it. So it's got Lost vibes.
Oh, does it?
Yeah. It's like a spooky Lost. Really spooky.
I do like a bit of spook.
Like you'll really enjoy it. I'd say Kira like as well.
Yeah.
Like Paola doesn't like scary things, but she's quite fond of this. It's just done really well. Like, and it's got like, I don't want to say body horror, but it has some fairly gnarly scenes in it.
Is your man doing anything for horror? Your man from Netflix that does, the
Mike Flanagan, who did Midnight
Has he got anything horror? Is there anything coming out on Halloween? Because doesn't he usually like his? Now I know he put out the fucking Raven thing, the Edgar Allan Poe thing.
But that's like a year ago.
Yeah, that's probably about a year too. Like, so I'm wondering, does he have anything for Halloween?
Did you ever watch the sequel to The Shining he did, Dr. Sleep?
No.
You should watch that. It's very good. It's very his style. It's not at all like
The Shining.
The movie of The Shining isn't like the book of The Shining. Yeah. So I think it's based on Stephen King's book. What is Mike Flanagan doing next is a question here.
Yeah.
Because the Season of Passage.
All right.
I don't know what that is.
We don't know when it's released.
In December 22, they've started working on a TV deal with Amazon. So I'm assuming it's a horror adjacent thing.
Yeah, no, I really like his stuff. I think he's cool. Yeah. So actually, as well, if anyone has any horror recommendations over Halloween, do send them in to us, whether it be on the Discord or the Instagram, drop in the DMs or anything, because we're always. I'm out with a loop with fucking spooky shit. Like, I'm becoming a boomer. Like, so I don't have my finger on the pulse anymore.
You'll never be as good as the Hills Have Eyes.
Yeah, literally. The Xbox 360 is 20 years old now. I think next year, something like that. Or like in a year.
The Xbox 360.
Yeah, something like that. And I'm like, Jesus wept. It's just too much for me to take in.
Trying to Fall the House of Usher.
Yeah, that was
trying to see, does he have it?
Maybe.
He's a producer on Shelby Oaks. Interesting.
All right.
Chris Stuckman is a guy who reviews movies on YouTube, and he's made a movie called Shelby Oaks.
Yeah. Okay.
So your man's done some production on that.
Right.
Okay, I'd like to.
When's that dropping?
It's going to be out in October. I think it's
also
a
Halloween style thing.
I think it's a found. Tell you what, you and me, we'll go to the cinema and we'll watch it together.
Is it coming out in the cinema? Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Yeah. We'll watch that then. Right. That's about it, folks. We will leave it there. Thanks for listening if you made it this far. Thanks. Head on over to YouTube if you haven't already. Drop that sub, leave a like, subscription, all that jazz. We do appreciate it. And if you're on YouTube, we appreciate you a lot. Thanks for leaving the comments and all that. Thanks, Willie Joe. We know you're the dude. Good to hear you're out of hospital, brother.
Twice a week, every
Top
week.
shagger. What a man. Thanks for listening, guys. I've been Rob.
I've been Eamon.
Monster Fuzz over now.